Welcome, welcome.
What are you doing?
Making a cast, reeling in our listeners.
Making a cast, reeling in listeners.
What you
Welcome
doing?
to the Great American Race Bass Fishing Tournament Edition. We got a show for y'all tonight. Welcome back to the Fish Life Podcast, folks at home. We appreciate you joining us. We're doing it live as we always do these days. Hey, if you want to get involved, go ahead and comment. If you got any questions, something you want to add to the show, drop it in the comments. Hey, do us a favor when you get in here. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up. At least give us a comment to say hello. Let us know who's in. I see Todd Udy joining us. Todd Udy wins the first comment of the night award tonight.
Tell him what he's won.
Absolutely nothing. Chris, what do we got in store? What's on the old agenda tonight? I know we're going to talk about some interesting stuff tonight. There is some really cool stuff that normally bass fishing's kind of done.
Mm-hmm.
Like as a fan, as a spectator of tournament bass fishing, by now it's over.
Right.
But it's not. We got some really interesting. So what
But
do we got
not
on
in 2020.
what do we got on the agenda tonight, bud?
So, we're obviously going to give you some current conditions.
Yep.
We're going to go over the Bassmaster Opens and
The
the
race.
qualification process.
The ultimate, maybe the best viewing pleasure battle that you might see this year. We're going to talk about the Bassmaster Opens and what's going down and how much is at stake for some of these individuals. We're going to talk about that. Also, Sealy Outdoors was just this weekend. We'll kind of recap that as well. And then we've got a surprise topic at the end. It's going to be another thing kind of like
last week.
last week. We're gonna make you hold on to the end for that one. We're gonna get a little loose with it. What else? Did I miss anything else?
No, we're good.
Okay.
We're golden.
So that's it, man. It's golly, dude, it's an exciting time. If you're a bass fisherman right now, I mean, this is a great time. We've got these awesome fishing tournaments. We still got some Elite Series tournaments left to go. We've got these Bassmaster Opens, about half of them left to go.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk more about that, like we said, later in the podcast. But and the weather, early this year. It's fall. Like, it's not fall on the calendar yet. But the fall bite, especially with what we got happening in our home region this week, by the end of this week, we will be in a fall pattern. Like a fall pattern for sure. Like fish piling in the creeks, chasing schools of bait, grouping up, getting after it. Get your buzz bait, your swim jig, and your spinner bug out, and go to just covering water, KVD mode, trolling motor on high, and catch them as fast as you can. It's going to be awesome.
We had to turn off the AC unit in the garage today.
In September.
In September. Whoa.
Right, that's not normal.
Whoa.
At all. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. And what I hope happens is that we get this cool down early, and then we just kind of stay in that 70s to 60s water temp mode. Because by the end of this week, the water temp will absolutely be in the 70s.
Right.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be kind of set in stone. Probably not going to get back out of the 70s after that. And if we can keep the water temps in the 70s and 60s for an extended period of time, like, normally it stays in that 60s water temp till kind of the end of November-ish.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Dude, we can have like literally 2+ full months of a fall bite that normally last a month.
Tops.
Right. Sometimes 2 or 3 weeks is what we got the last couple of years, but
It could be the best fall bite to be had in a long time.
it could be a really good fall bite this year. So all you guys, make sure y'all go duck hunting. There's a lot of ducks flying around everywhere. I don't know how many paying attention. A lot of ducks flying around everywhere. The deer are moving.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all go get in the woods and get your guns in your hands. Let all of us serious fishermen enjoy what may be one of the best falls we've had in a long time. That being said, current conditions are they're changing. It's hard to tell you what the current conditions are right now today because literally as of tomorrow, the water column will start changing quite a bit temperature-wise, depending on how much rain we get, how hard the rain is that we have forecasted the next couple of days. Could change color-wise. So a lot of things that are going to inhibit me helping you guys as far as a conditions report go generally. What I will say, though, with that water temp cooling off, it's going to become, it already kind of has become this way, but it's really going to become all about shad and finding those overwhelming amounts of bait fish. The good thing is right now we've been kind of seeing all these small bait fish, like big groups of bait, but they're small bait fish. Well, this weather that we got coming should push some of those more mature threadfin and even some of those groups of gizzard shad in to get them to group up in some shallow water and backs of creeks and pockets. So it really becomes paramount. And the most important thing is that you pay attention to A, finding overwhelming amounts of bait, and B, what size is that bait? It's going to be shad in these lakes around here, all across the South. But find out what size shad is in that area and mimic that with your moving baits. Shallow diving crankbaits, lipless crankbaits, spinner baits, chatter baits, swim jigs, swim baits, walking top waters, popping top waters, whopper ploppers, buzz baits, frogs. All of these things can work, but they will work better depending on the size of bait fish that are in there if you match the size. The size profile is a very important factor of fall fishing. And
Match the hatch.
and then from there, really, it is about picking those moving baits that mimic those shad in that size profile that you can fish efficiently in the cover you're finding those bait fish at. So if it's more open water, timber, no grass, square bills, lipless, but whatever, you really got to pick the bait that works best in the cover you're presenting. If you're in a grass flat, hey, get your chatter bait out, get your little weedless swim baits out, stuff like that. So that's kind of how I'm thinking about it going into this week. You know, I'm not going to fish the first 2 days because we got so much rain forecasted. For the first 2 days, we got like 100% chance of rain, Monday and Tuesday. So I'm not going to fish those days, but I'll be out there Wednesday through Friday getting after it. And that's going to be my game plan, is going to be to find the bait, mimic the size of the bait, and fish efficiently as possible.
Keep a lure in the water.
And then a couple things you can always slow down with. Weightless plastics like a wacky rig or a weightless stick bait is good. But also, man, just that little light Texas rig, little light quarter-ounce Texas rig is so deadly this time of year for whatever reason. I don't know why. Just old school ribbon tail worm, Texas rig worm fishing. And really, this new worm right here from 6 Cents, it's called a ridge worm. It's got a big, long, flat tail on it. You'll see more about that on the channel this week. But that is a bait that has really been a key player for me lately. If you guys watch the video content the rest of the week, you'll see that. And it's a bait that will absolutely work on that little ribbon tail worm pattern that comes up every time of year, every year this time of year, I should say. That bait's been just an added bonus to have something these fish really haven't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different look, different action, and man, they bite it and it catches big fish. And like I said, if you watch the content that comes out tomorrow, you'll see evidence of that. John Higginbotham in the house. Joe Porter. We got Big John's Life. We're going to say some hellos to everybody watching. We got Sean Bowen. We got J-Bo busting outdoors. James Mason. We got a few of y'all putting some comments in here tonight. Not everybody's commenting this in here tonight. That's all right, though. Anyways, we're going to continue on. So, Chris.
Hey, Big John and I are now Instagram friends.
Oh, well, y'all are pretty much in each other's wedding parties. I think Big C's in the house.
Big John?
What's up? We got Big C and Big John. Okay, Chris.
Let's do it.
Sealy Outdoors.
Sealy Outdoors.
Big Bass Splash was on Lake Fork this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You guys had some very pleasant weather to fish in. I know that. Joe Porter says, is nobody going to say anything about the Pock shirt? Look, here's what's better than that. This is a Pock shirt, but Pock is about that life, baby. Pock is about that fish life. For the ones listening that can't see right now, I've got a shirt with Tupac's image on it and a Fish Life logo right below it. Because Pock is about that life. There you go. Sealy Outdoors, man, you guys had awesome conditions, awesome weather to fish in. And then on top of that, okay, the water temperatures were right for the fish to be shallow. It seems like there was a lot of overs caught. I didn't get the final count on numbers of overs, but all I know is an 8.80 pound fish won the tournament, which shocked me. It doesn't shock me for the time of year it is. The fish typically weigh the least amount. Even the fish that look big don't weigh as much this time of year. They are at absolutely their lowest weight of the year. But I have been seeing so many fish in Lake Fork lately that look so healthy for the time of year it is that I really thought it was going to take a double-digit fish for sure to win that tournament. It didn't. But 1 through 5, there's like less than half a pound difference.
I got the top 5 overall winners.
What was 5th? 8 point what?
8.28.
And 8.80 won it. So you had a half pound difference in the top 5 fish. So it sounds like there was a lot of really good quality overs caught. We just didn't get any of those giants like I thought. I assumed we were going to get a 10 pounder.
I thought there'd be a 10 pounder for sure.
because there's been so many fish that has been caught lately that have been so fat, so thick for this time of year. But it just goes to show you, man, those fish just don't weigh this time of year. They don't. You catch those same fish in January or February, and 100% one of them weighs 10 pounds. That 8.8 will weigh 10 pounds in January, February, for sure. Like, they just get denser and they're heavier in the wintertime.
So you want to hear something crazy on a side note?
I always want to hear something crazy.
So a buddy of mine fishes down Central Texas. He had a tournament on Belton today, and Big Fish was an 11.75.
Woo-wee! Somebody called it daggum Giganosaurus Rex.
And he said it didn't have no belly.
That's insane. That's really insane.
So
I mean, it's not supposed to have a belly this time of year in Belton,
Right.
but to weigh 11.75 without a belly is crazy.
That's a
So the
downside.
biggest fish that any customer of mine ever caught was 12 pounds and 13 ounces. And it was at the very end of May. She didn't have, her belly was as empty as it could be.
Mhm.
And that was just one of the freakiest, biggest headed, biggest fish I've ever seen.
I know exactly where you caught her too, and I was mad about it because I'd been fishing that exact area a couple days before,
But you weren't out there,
but
dog.
I wasn't there.
You weren't out there, and you weren't in the boat with your Lake Fort. No, I'm just kidding. It's just sometimes we get lucky around here, dog.
Hey, man.
Couple guys say they dig the shirt. That's good. That's good. All right, so that was Sealy's, man. They had great weather. Looked like a great turnout. Looked like great fishing. A lot of big fish caught. No true giants, which was kind of a shock. Honestly, I was really shocked by that. So, I guess we're just gonna get right into the Bassmaster deal.
Let's do it.
So this is an interesting deal to me because we all watch tournament fishing. Most of us guys you guys that are listening to this channel, and Chris and myself, we're all crazy about bass fishing. So we watch the Bass Pro Tour, MLF. We watch the Summit Cup, MLF. We watch the Bassmaster Elite Series. And I kind of read the press clippings on the Opens. I'll even watch an FLW tournament once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
But on the Bassmaster Opens, I've always kind of just been a guy that, and I think most people like this, you just kind of read the press clippings on the Bassmaster Opens. You read the article that comes out after the tournament. You look at the standings, see if any of your buddies did good, any of the people you like, your fans of, did good. You just kind of take the cliff notes from the Opens and from the Costa Series, or whatever it's called now. Toyota, I don't know what it's called. The Undercard FLW Series. I don't even know what they call it anymore. But you never really went out of your way to watch it live.
Right.
Or watch the live coverage, or watch the weigh-ins, or anything like that. Then the whole fishing tournament world got completely shook up. Year before last year, not year before last, because it was the beginning. So last year, the MLF Bass Pro Tour siphons off 80 of the best fishermen in the world, creates the greatest accumulation of fishing talent we've ever seen. Bassmaster Elite Series recovers, poaches a lot of really good anglers from FLW. Then a lot of guys, several really good anglers, Brian Thrift, Scott Martin, Brian Latimer, they stayed with FLW that first year.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to the beginning of this year, before coronavirus destroyed the world, or didn't. That's up for debate.
Yeah, I'd say.
Results may vary. Anyways, MLF, Bass Pro Tour, buys FLW. And there's some guys that had stuck with FLW that weren't too happy about that, Chris.
No. They stayed there for a reason.
You might say they might have had a bone to pick with MLF. There was a little grudge going on. They didn't want any part of being under the MLF Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour umbrella. They didn't want nothing to do with it at all. And so, kudos to them, because I'm a fan of it. You got to stand for something at some point, right? And these guys didn't believe in the MLF project, didn't want to be a part of it, and took a very big risk, risking peril to their own fishing career that they have worked their entire lives to build. They bailed. Mm-hmm. They said, I quit. I'm not fishing FLW. I'm going to go enter the Undercard Series on the Bassmasters Opens, and I'm going to try to qualify for the Bassmaster Elite Series through the Opens. Guys like Brian Latimer, guys like Scott Martin. Mm-hmm. Some of these, Andrew Upshaw's another one that's trying to qualify through there, I think. Todd Castledon's another one. And there's guys that I think are on. There's guys that are on the MLF Bass Pro Tour that are fishing these opens because they want to qualify for the Elite Series. They don't want to fish Major League Fishing anymore. I think that's part of it. It could just be because they're addicted to tournament fishing and they're trying to fish everything they can.
Unfortunately, well, I say unfortunately and fortunately on both hands, we will never know.
Right.
So
Fair point. Fair point. So let me explain something for those that maybe don't know, because like I said, we haven't all just paid attention in great detail to the Bassmaster Open circuit. The Bassmaster Opens used to be 3 events. This year it's 4. There's 2 divisions of 4 tournaments apiece.
Mm-hmm.
Traditionally it's 3. Only a few guys, and there was more divisions before, and you had 3 tournaments to qualify. I think you had to get in the top 3 in your division before
right.
this year. You had to get in the top 3 to qualify for the Elite Series.
I think that's right.
Lee Livesey, Lake Fork local, great angler, unbelievable. Been on the Elite Series now. Lee tried to qualify through the Opens for years and got really, really close a lot and never made it through. Lee got in through an invite whenever the mass exodus to MLF happened.
That's right.
And Lee got an invite extended to him because he had been so close in the Opens and points a couple times. Lee is as good a fisherman as I've ever been around. I've seen what he does day in, day out on Lake Fork, how consistent he is, how incredible the fish he catches are. And I'm here to tell you, folks, Lee ain't playing around. Like, he's full real.
Mm-hmm.
And he's proven it in his first couple seasons on the Elite Series. He's hung. He's been up there in the top, 20 in points, 30. He qualified for the Classic his rookie year. Like, he is legit as it gets.
Yep.
And he couldn't make it through the Open system. Here's the deal, guys. You get old style, you got three tournaments, 3-day tournaments. You got 9 days, and only 3 can qualify. I'm telling you, if you have one bad day out of 9, you're out. One bad day out of 9, you're out. Basically, it hasn't changed much. Now you've got 12 fishing days, and you've got to be in the top 4 of your division to qualify. Pretty much it's still, if you have one really stinky bad day, you're out. You 0 once, you get 0 points in a tournament once, you're done.
Yeah, there's really no
You're
recovering.
done.
Yeah.
Because what happens is if you have one bad day, especially in the first 2 days of the tournament, you don't qualify for day 3, your points go way down. You're not making the top 3 or 4. It's not even really possible mathematically at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to fish perfect every day. You have to have a good quality day. You have to be on fish. You have to locate fish no matter what fishery they take you to, no matter how many times you've seen it or haven't seen it. And over 3 days, you can't miss on any day. You got to catch them for 12 days. It is one of the most, not only do you have to be so good and so well prepared, you have to also, on top of that, catch a little luck. It's not always the very best angler out of the Opens that's going to qualify in that system. It's such a difficult thing to do that you have to have a little luck, which makes it, it's a very small sample size. So some randomness gets thrown in there.
Mm-hmm.
So there was guys like Scott Martin, like Brian Latimer, that were like, hey, I don't care. I am so anti-MLF. I am going to roll the dice with my fishing career and say that I'm going to go take my chances on the Bassmaster Open circuit. And they did. And they've gone out there and they've done, well, Scott Martin's done well.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about that here in a second. We're going to talk about the placings and the results. But what's funny to me is should those guys not qualify for the Bassmaster Elite Series, they have now gone from being somebody who fished one of the top 2, because before MLF, Bass Pro Tour, FLW, Bassmaster Elite Series were pretty close. And as far as business goes, as far as your status in the world of bass fishing as a career, as far as sponsor dollars go to you as an individual angler, if you were one of the top guys at FLW or one of the top guys at the Elite Series had a little leg up, but it wasn't a big leg up.
Right.
They've gone from being one of the guys on one of the biggest circuits on earth and being one of the best on said circuit. Now, if they don't qualify through the Opens, they are truly irrelevant marketing-wise in the world of bass fishing. Make no mistake about it, guys. This bass fishing world, the way it works is you got to catch them to get the notoriety. But to truly make a career, you've got to stay notable, stay visible, get a lot of eyeball time through your circuit or some other means, and you've got to sell product. Most of these guys make most of their living selling product.
Hold relevance.
Yes, you got to maintain the eyeball time. And if you look at these guys, what's really kind of interesting with what they've done is all these guys, these Latimer, Scott Martins, they are all in on social media content creation around fishing. Scott Martin's been doing it since beforehand. He was early on this train, and he's further ahead than all these other guys because of that. But Brian Latimer, these guys are all in on making social media content, multiple videos a week, every single week, vlog everything, talk about everything, video everything, get it out there, get as much eyeball time as I can, because they're very aware that if this Bassmaster Open deal doesn't work out, they got to have something to maintain the eyeball time to keep the sponsor dollars rolling in. That is essentially their living, is those sponsor dollars.
Their nest egg.
That's what they make their weekly salary on. So, that being said, let's look at some standings, because guys, you want to talk about something that's going to be fun to watch, going to be interesting to watch. These last 4 or 5 Bassmaster Open tournaments are going to be unbelievably dramatic to see who finishes where, who can get in the door, who can qualify.
Start with Central.
So in the Central Opens, okay, remember, top 4 is what qualifies, unless one of the top 4 is already on the Elite Series and it goes to the next person down the list. In the top 4 in the Central Opens, you got Paul Browning, Logan Latuso, Lee Livesey, he's already on the Elite Series, Greg Hackney, Mark Frazier. So the 4 that are in right now are Paul Browning, Logan Latuso, Greg Hackney, and Mark Frazier. So Greg Hackney, to me, is the one that's notable right there that's in. That means Greg Hackney can leave MLF and walk right into the Elite Series if it stays like it is. Now, lots of this stuff can change in the top 4, guys. They still have, in the Central, they still have 2 events to fish. They fished 2, they've got 2 to fish. In the Eastern Opens, they've got an Eastern Open this week, and then they still have 2 more. So they've only fished 1 event in the East.
Right.
But like I said, remember what I said earlier. If you have one bad day, one bad tournament especially, you're done. Jason Christie is 1 spot out. He's 1 spot out of qualifying.
Christie, IE.
Christie, IE. Chris, where would you think that Christie with a Y would be in the standings in the Central Opens?
I'd say top 30.
You would say top 30 because his name's Jason Christie.
That's right.
He might spell it wrong. If y'all don't know, there's 2 Jason Christies in bass fishing. There's Christie with an IE that's one of the greatest fishermen of this generation.
Yeah.
That's on the Bass Pro Tour. They caught a 10-pounder at Fort during the Bass Pro Tour. That's won Elite Series events, FLW events. He's almost won Bassmaster Classics. He is one of the stars of our sport. Then there's Jason Christie with a Y that's kind of gotten notoriety because he's got the right name, and it's kind of been a funny deal. But this guy bought his way into the FLW Tour and absolutely sucks at fishing. Like, bro, he could not be a guide on Lake Fork and keep a half-booked guidebook. Like, he couldn't book half his days on Lake Fork if he's that bad at fishing. Some people just ain't got it. He ain't got it. Where would you well, his name's Jason Christie, so.
I said top 30.
Yeah, he's at 0 points. He's tied for dead last. I'm pretty sure there's nobody on here on this circuit that has negative points, but unless that changes, he's in last place. He's terrible at fishing, folks. Terrible. Daryl Gleason is number 7. He is a local guy. He's from Toledo Bend. Great guy on Toledo Bend. We've spoken highly of Daryl Gleason for years. He's been after this Bassmaster Open qualifying spot for a long time. He's in 7th place right now. It helped that they have one on Rayburn, and he did really well. And that's one of his home lakes. I will have my fingers crossed, hoping for the best for Daryl Gleason, because this is a guy that's been after this Bassmaster Open qualifying spot for so long now. And he's really, really close. He's only 2 spots out.
That's Toledo Bend Hammer, too.
Yeah.
Boy.
Gerald Swindle's up there. Then you got Brian New, Josh Douglas, Brandon Polnick's up there. These guys are already all qualified for a tournament. There's nobody else near the top that is one of these guys we're talking about, okay? So that's our Centrals. Easterns. We've got, here's the guys that are qualified in the top 4. Brian New, Joshua Strackner, Greg Alexander, Keith Carson. Scott Martin is 1 spot out. So Scott has a chance. Scott quit FLW. He rolled the dice on this deal.
Scott's all in, baby.
Scott has a chance through the Eastern Opens. And they've only fished 1 tournament, so he's still very much in the game.
Right.
it's funny how some of the same names pop up in the top of both divisions. Brian New was up there. Gerald Swindell's in 7th in this one. He was up there on the other one. Jason Christie is in 13th on this. He was in IE. Yeah. No, Christie with a Y is at 0 still. Christie with a Y is still sucks at fishing at 0. That's right. So those are kind of the top guys in the Eastern and the Central. So there's some really, really, really interesting stuff. Now here's some notables that are outside. Todd Castledine was on the FLW Tour. Quit fishing the FLW Tour. Tried to qualify through the Opens. Todd is another local Rayburn Toledo guy. Todd's probably won more money on Sam Rayburn than everybody else combined. Like
Ever.
I don't know if that's real or not, but Todd's won. Like he is the legend of Sam Rayburn of our generation for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Todd is in bad shape. Todd is not fishing the FLW Tour anymore. He's fishing the Opens. And Todd is in 27th place in one division and 64th place in the other division. That 64th place, he's done. Not going to happen. 27th, everything falls right. See, the deal is he hasn't had a stinker yet. He hasn't unqualified himself.
Right.
But he's got to win one. He's got to do something crazy now.
Mm-hmm.
The odds are not great for Todd Castledine. We will be praying for you, buddy, but it doesn't look good. Here's the one that is, we'll save this one. We'll save this one for a second. Scott Martin, we told y'all, he's in 5th place in the Eastern Division. They still got 3 tournaments to go. He's got a great shot there. But if that doesn't work out and he doesn't get in the top 4, which, guys, it's so hard to do, like we're saying, he's in 49th in the other division. The other division, he's out. He's not qualifying. So there's a very real possibility that Scott Martin, who was one of the greatest anglers on earth, won a Forrest Wood Cup, won Angler of the Year on the FLW Tour when it was at its peak. There's a very, very real possibility that we're looking at a situation where Scott Martin does not fish a major tournament circuit anymore. Because if he doesn't qualify this year, who's to say he's going to qualify next year?
Right.
Who's to say he's going to keep trying for how many years? He's pretty getting on up there. I mean, I know he looks good with all that makeup he wears and stuff. He's a little bit of a pretty boy. But Scott's up there. He's, 50? Has to be, right?
He's close.
If he ain't 50, he's close. He's in his 40s for sure. Like, he's getting up there, and he's been there, done that. So we're looking at a situation like Scott Martin needs to qualify, or his whole epic fishing career can go like this real quick. Now, he's got the social media platform to stay in the industry and keep a very valid, financially profitable career for him and his family. I'm not worried about Scott Martin financially. I'm not worried about him business-wise, his dad, the history. He's fine. But as far as his tournament fishing legacy, it can go from doing this to nothing real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Upshaw, who has just torn it up on the FLW Tour, is trying to qualify. That's not happening. He's in 69th. That's not happening. Carl Jacobson, who was on the Elite Series, had some struggles. Went to the FLW Tour. Tried to go back and qualify through the Opens this year. Not happening. He's in 57th. He's the Australian guy that came here to live there. Carl's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. I've met him. He's a super great guy. He's in 57th. He's not qualifying. And here's the one that shocked me the most. Brian Latimer was entrenched as a fan favorite and one of the best anglers on the FLW Tour when it was at its peak. He was one that could have stayed at FLW and had a good FLW career still going. He chose to pull the plug, say, I don't want anything to do with this other side. I'm going to go through the Bassmaster Opens and get to the Elite Series. Well, he's not doing it this year, folks. He's in 52nd in one division and 115th in another division. I love Brian Latimer. He's one of the most entertaining guys to watch. He's one of the most passionate guys about our sport. He's just a good, solid guy. He's not making it into the Opens this year. I mean, there is some crazy stuff happening. And then you add in the factor in those Opens. Okay, let's see if Scott Martin's going to make it, right? Let's see that. That's going to be super interesting. Okay, now let's see. Greg Hackney, Jason Christie, IE, are they going to qualify and bail on Bass Pro Tour? Like, the Bassmaster Elite Series is great, and I'm going to watch every event they fish. But, dude, these Opens are going to be insane to watch for a little while. We've had some comments pouring in. I'm going to see if we've got some questions or anything to get involved. We got some BLAT supportive comments. Everybody loves BLAT. Dude, he's a fan favorite for sure. Christie with a Y. The grandson of one of Wisconsin's leading ocean spray cranberry growers, first fishing experiences occurred on the bogs of Potter and Son Cranberries in Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin. I don't know what that has to do. Maybe he's just too busy sipping on cranberry juice because he sucks at fishing. Scott Martin has an advantage by his father always having him on his TV shows. No doubt, Scott Martin had a huge advantage in the marketing world of fishing because of who his dad was. That definitely got him started. The one thing I would say is if you know anything about Scott Martin behind the scenes, nobody can deny that his reason for success, continued success, is absolutely his work ethic.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
His work ethic has been second to none since day one. Yes, he got his foot in the door through his dad early in his career before he had really done anything significant, marketing-wise, sponsor dollar-wise. But he's earned those dollars over the years, and he's proven that by being maybe the first major. I bet he was the first angler of the year on a major circuit that adopted the multiple videos a week, every single week on YouTube deal.
Yeah, he's been YouTube relevant
for 3 years now.
Yeah.
He's been doing it for 3 or 4 years, maybe 4 years. He's been doing it for several years now. Before it was a popular thing to do, he saw the writing on the wall, and he puts the work in. Guys, I know, man, I'm just a small-time guy with a small-time production, but the amount of work that goes into producing basically a miniature TV show every single week, multiple times a week, it's unbelievable. Your traditional fishing show, TV show guys would do 12, 15, maybe 20 episodes a year, maybe.
Yeah.
We're talking about 100 episodes a year that this guy's producing, minimum. Maybe probably more than that, honestly.
And we're not even talking about the shows that air on TV alongside.
And he has a TV show.
Right.
And he's one of the best tournament fishermen on earth. His work ethic is the reason he's had the success.
Right.
When am I going pro? Never. I'm never going pro. Listen, I've got a family. I've got 2 young boys that are 10 and 7 right now that I thoroughly enjoy my time with them. I get involved. I get to coach their sports. If I'm tournament fishing, traveling the country, that's not happening. I'm not going to see them nearly as much. I do not want to force my kids to be homeschooled and live on the road. And basically, as a tournament fisherman, your choice is, do I not see my family, or do I force my family to adopt a lifestyle where they live on the road and my kids are homeschooled? And I don't want either one of those. That's one reason. Number two is, I would love to just go fish the opens and have 4 tournaments a year that I travel to and fish. I could swing that. The problem with that is nobody's making any money in these opens.
Right.
It is a net, when it becomes your job, when it becomes a business. For me, when it became my business, I used to fish tournaments. Then when I started guiding, it became a business. It became a way for me to feed my family. When that happened, I started seeing tournaments in dollar signs. And even if I win a good amount, if I'm very, very successful, I was at best breaking even, most likely losing a little bit. Or I could go guide some on those days and know I'm going to make profit $300 a day, whatever, $350, whatever it is, after expenses. So I started seeing it from a business aspect and a return on my time investment. And the bottom line is the way tournament fishing is structured, until you're one of the top 40, top 50 guys in the world, you're just really not making money. You're not. You're losing money or breaking even. And I can't do that when it's my business and it's my job to provide for my family. It just doesn't make any sense to me. The competitive part of me, the younger version of me would have been all in on tournaments. As I got older and a little more calmed down, and got a little bit more business savvy about me, the business side of me says tournament fishing is one of the dumbest things anybody's ever done as a business, as a job.
Well, hey, and to piggyback that too, you would be surprised how many of these professional tournament anglers
Have other
actually
jobs.
guide on the side.
Guide or have other jobs.
Or other jobs, yeah.
Other jobs.
Mhm.
Randy Haynes is a tournament hammer from way back, dude. And you heard him when he got in that fight with Jason Lambert. He was like, "The hell with this, I got flooring to lay." He's got a flooring company, like he's got another company, a construction company. Like all these guys have other jobs unless they're like Hackney, KVD, Swindle, Iconelli, like these household names, the stars of our sport, Paul and Nick. You know, those guys don't have other jobs. But even those guys, most of them now are trying to supplement their income through social media. Sponsor dollars, like Paul and Nick and all these guys are doing that. So you're just not making that much money as a tournament fisherman unless you're one of the best in the world. And then for the amount of obsession, time consumption, and time you spend away from your family, and the effort that goes into it, newsflash, you want to be top 20 in the world or something, you got to work harder than everybody. Like, you've got to work obsessively to be one of the best in the world or something. Well, for that amount of effort those guys are putting in, the return they're getting financially is just not great, even at that level. So it was always a business decision for me. It was better to guide. I can stay here and do social media content and generate some revenue for my family that way. We've been fortunate. We've had a couple good ideas like the Fish Life app and stuff like that. It's paid off for us as a business. It's worked out really well. I do so much better for my family without tournament fishing. The only way I get into tournament fishing, for me, that I see me realistically going and like chasing down the open circuit or something like that, like major, I'll fish a local derby when the opportunity strikes. But the only way I see myself really chasing a tournament trail, like the Opens or some Everstar, something like that, would be my kids are gone, my business is established financially, we've got the off-the-water revenue stream, sponsor dollars, app money, all that stuff coming in, and I really don't have to have the guiding money anymore, and I've got some time on my hands. Okay, now, when I can pursue tournament fishing as a passionate hobby and not as I need to make money doing this or I'm in trouble, I'm hurting my business, that's when I could see myself tournament fishing. I would love to do it, though, but it's just not right for me business-wise. Most pros roll the dice on credit to be out there every year. Absolutely. Absolutely. The Randy Blockett story is the most interesting to me. He has been at the top of the sport and now is making a comeback. There you go. That is a good one. Carl is still on the Elite Series. Okay, I messed up. Carl Yakutis is on the Elite Series? He must. Is he really? I was pretty sure he was. Maybe he's still on the FLW. I don't think Carl Yakutis was still on the Elite Series. I'm not saying I'm not wrong, because I've been wrong way more than I've been right. Hard to hit all 9 days, absolutely. Fishing those open circuits is so difficult to hit all 9 days. Tim Rhodes says that Blackman should have fished Saturday. I don't know what he's talking about. Chris, can you fill us in on that?
There was a tournament on Lake Palestine that Tim and them put on, and y'all didn't want me in that tournament. I'd have brought down your bag average. I ain't been on the lake in a little while.
He'd have brought down your bag average. Hey, what's funny is this is like so Tim Rhodes used to be when I fished team tournaments.
Jocumsen is on the Elite Series.
He is on the Elite Series, so we were wrong about Jocumsen. He's on the Elite Series. So Tim Rhodes used to fish some tournaments. We used to fish them together. He was my partner for some team tournaments, just small stuff back in the day before I started guiding. And John Maxfield is a guy here in Van that actually I filmed with this week. You guys will see him tomorrow on the channel. And there's some other guys, local guys, that fish in this little group with them. Mm-hmm. And it's like not a big, it's like 10 guys maybe, like 10 boats, whatever, 12 boats. Bro, there is some hammers in that group. Like John Maxfield's one of the better fishermen I know. Like he's good. And Tim ain't no slouch. No. And a couple of these other local dudes that fish, like these boys eat, sleep, and breathe and have grown up in East Texas and are hammers. It's like the most difficult 10-boat tournament you'll ever fish.
Hey, by the way, Tim, I need you to pre-fish Pines for me. I got a classic coming up in October.
I'm gonna tell you something about Tim Rose and Lake of the Pines. He don't even need to pre-fish it. He's got them on speed dial. He can call them up.
Go ahead and dam that thing up, keep the water high, and then let me know where to go.
Somebody said social media is a game changer for the fishing industry. Social media is absolutely. Forget the fishing industry. Social media has been a game changer for me, my life. So
just think about the documentation of everything in the last we'll call it 5 years.
Man,
versus 10 years ago.
We're a microcosm of that. Just think about, as a fishing guide, all the stuff we've been able to document in the last few years.
I know. It's crazy. And it was
just filming 1 day a week, rolling the camera on a guide trip once in a while when the people want it done, like we've had some crazy, like double-digit fish, kids catching giants. I mean, we've had some awesome stuff get put on camera.
You know who we have to thank for all this, right? Freaking Butch Brown. Let's go.
Butch Brown. Butch Brown with his old GoPro original out there on his John boat in California fishing ponds.
I
don't
think it
know.
was a dang Sony, one of them cameras he put it on a tripod. On
It had a
his back
VHS tape in there. He
Yeah.
had to change them out every once in a while.
Oh yeah, I tell you, Butch Brown's the goat.
Butch Brown caught some giant fish on camera before most people knew what it was about. That's for sure, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's social media has changed my life personally. You know, a little bit, and this I'll try to keep this as brief as possible. But basically, I got asked by a buddy of mine that was guiding. Well, we were actually celebrating after a tournament and drinking probably a little too much, a little too late, and we were the last two up. And he was talking to me about, you know, it's hard to find guys that he could trust to send overflow to. His guide business was going real good. And I made a joke, kind of tongue-in-cheek comment about, well, I was literally in between boats, was thinking about buying a new boat. I literally made a joke. I said, hey, well, I'll just go buy me a new boat. And you can send me your overflow on the weekends. And I was joking because I didn't have any idea. To me, I wasn't ready to be a fishing guide. Like, I wasn't on that level. And he was like, dude, if you do, I'll send you trips every weekend through the spring and summer. In my head, I was like, really? And in my head, I was like, well, hold up. You really think that I can handle that? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. You know, because he fished with me, knew me. He's like, yeah, I think you can handle it. And then in my head, it was, well, if I just run like 12 guide trips a year, that'll pay for my new boat. And I can just have a free, brand new, awesome boat the rest of the year to do whatever with. And so I was like, okay, sounds great. So literally that week, I went and bought a boat. That next Saturday, I ran my first guide trip. And then that continued for about a year and a half where I was running guide trips on the weekend, part-time, still working my job, fishing every chance I had kind of some flexibility in my work schedule where I snuck out during the week sometimes and all that. Allegedly. Did that for about a year and a half. And it just got to a point where I was, like, I didn't want to work every single day, 7 days a week for the rest of my life. So I was really about to say, heck with it, and just go back to being a weekend angler like I was before, fish tournaments, and not worry about the guiding at all. But that was in 2016 when I was debating quitting guiding in the middle of it. And that was the year that the Guggen Squad boys started making videos all the time and kind of started working together. And really, they really pioneered and changed how social media is used in the fishing industry 100%. They absolutely changed the entire industry, the way they did it. I saw this kind of online video, anybody can make one deal, getting some traction. And I decided, okay, before I decide to give up on this, if I could turn guiding into my full-time occupation, I'd be all in on that. I love fishing. I love guiding. I enjoy guiding. I'd done it enough at that point. I'd been doing it part-time for a year and a half. I knew that I was cut out for the business. I liked it. My customers came back. I got a lot of repeat customers. So I knew I was cut out for the business. It was simply about getting the exposure level to get people in my boat. And get enough people in my boat where I could make a living for my family. And I had a pretty legit serious mortgage at that time, still the same house I live in now. I had, you know, the two boys, I had my wife. Like, I couldn't just go into guiding and not make money for a while. If I was going to go full time, I had to make a full time living right away. It's almost impossible. It pretty much is impossible to do that. Still, it's very, very difficult to come out here and just make a full time type living right away when you first start guiding. Most guys have savings they live off of to build their business over a couple of years once they're on the water full time. It's a very challenging situation. So I said, hey, look at what's going on in the online video industry, and I start making YouTube videos. And really November of that year is when I started making multiple videos a week, every single week. Well, between November and May, my profile, my notoriety, my ability to get phone calls for trips grew so much so fast that I was forced into quitting my job. Now, my plan was to do part-time guiding and video content creating every week throughout 2017, and then start full-time guiding the spring in March of 2018 at the beginning of spring, get a full run in spring, make sure I got a bunch of trips, get some money saved up. I got so many phone calls that spring doing the YouTube content that I quit my job at the end of May. I didn't want to. I thought it was a terrible idea, but I was getting so busy and taking trips here. I was taking vacation days to run guide trips, and it was just insane the amount of phone calls I was getting in business. So I just jumped off in it and quit. And I'm telling you, from the day that I went full time till now, I bet you I can count on these two hands how many days that I didn't run a guide trip that I wanted to. In other words, a day I had available to book, that it wasn't a family day, it wasn't something else going on, like a day that I wanted to book and it just didn't get booked. Well, that was early 2017, so 3.5 years now since I went full time. I can count on two hands how many times I didn't run a trip on a day that I wanted to. Social media completely changed my life forever in this industry. Not only has it done that, it's created a situation for me now where I actually get sponsored dollars. Like, I get sponsored equipment, but I get paid to market people's stuff on my YouTube channel. And not just YouTube, all my social media stuff that I put out. And on top of that, we've built an app and paid for it and created it. We're debt free on the app, and now we've got this deal going. And man, it's created a situation where I probably have the most financially stable guide business that's ever existed in the history of bass fishing. It's just a fishing guide. I don't do anything else. I just fishing guide and create social media content. And I have all this stability financially from the dollars that I get coming in off the water, and then I have the guide business on top of that. And I've been unbelievably blessed. I mean, granted, I work, like Chris will tell you, like I worked over 2.5 years without a single day off. If I was awake, I was working for 2.5 years to get all that content created, to get all those guide trips ran, to make sure my family had money while I was working on all this other stuff. Like basically, the social media was my side hustle, and the guide business I had to do 5 or 6 days a week just to stay afloat, keep my family life good. And I built up this social media business on the side at night, on the other 2 days, other 1 day of the week that I wasn't guiding. So it's been a crazy ride, but it definitely has changed the industry, and it's changed my life personally, for sure, for sure. Jared K said, look at people like my buddy Bass Geek that don't compete but live for it daily. Have a massive following. Yeah, Bass Geek is awesome. Bass Geek actually works with us on the Fish Life app. If you guys have never checked out Bass Geek, he's over in kind of the Kentucky area. He works with us in that region on the Fish Life app. And Bass Geek is great, man. He's a great dude. You're right. He's just a guy. He's just a guy. He's not a big tournament guy or nothing like that. But, man, he's good at fishing, and he loves it. And he's out there all the time. And he does a great job. And it's really done a phenomenal job with the social media content he does. He is getting a big following and growing really fast. Tactical Bassin guys have been growing big. Yeah, Tactical Bassin has gone. Tactical Bassin's another one that, okay, I have the most financially stable guide business as just a fishing guide besides Matt Allen.
Yeah.
From Tactical Bassin, because he's a fishing guide too. So besides him, I probably do. But Matt and Tim Little, who's his buddy that I think is like a wildlife department guy or something. Something like, I can't remember exactly what Tim does. But anyway, they've done a great job. They were one of my favorite channels before I started making content. I used to watch their stuff religiously, and they've grown a lot. And again, social media has changed their life forever, no doubt. No doubt, social media has changed their life forever. So it's an awesome deal, man. Social media, you know, unfortunately, social media is basically a big giant mirror, and it reflects a lot of bad stuff about us. But man, it sure does reflect a lot of good stuff, and it's really up to you to choose what you look for. If you're looking at the bad stuff, you're going to see more of the bad stuff. If you're looking at the good stuff, you'll see more of the good stuff. And there's a lot of great, amazing things that have happened for people because of social media.
Oh, yeah.
So, Chris, this has been a Billy rambling. You haven't hardly said anything in this one tonight, dude.
I'm taking it in.
Taking it in?
Taking it all in.
Taking it all in.
It all started from a little GoPro.
It actually is his fault.
You can blame me.
So what's funny is the first year I was part-time guiding, before I even started making all the social media content, we had a crazy fishing trip that ended with a crazy fish catch, and we had a few weekends in a row where we fished together and just waxed them. And after about the second or third week in a row where that happened, Chris brings an old GoPro Hero original. That's it. No microphone, no nothing. Just a little tiny camera in a box. He says, bro, you got to start filming what's happening in your boat. And I made a couple little videos, highlight videos, instructional videos, did like one every 2 or 3 months. I wasn't really trying to do anything. I just thought it was kind of fun and kind of neat, you know.
Yeah.
So I did it. lo and behold, a little less than a year later was when I really dove in, and that's where this channel started. Was on the GoPro he gave me. Like all the first videos were filmed on that camera for quite a while.
Technology's come a long way.
So it's yeah, the camera he gave me is what originally started me even having an open mind to the making my own video deal.
It was one of those old GoPros where if you put the rain cover on it, the waterproof cover on it,
Yeah.
zero audio.
Zero
whatsoever.
audio.
Didn't matter.
That's exactly
That's
what
what
it
it
sounded.
sounded
That
like.
was I'll tell you, that's probably the best imitation we've ever done.
Yeah,
That was spot on.
guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Hey, we had a fun topic to get to tonight. A little bit of fun. So
Yeah.
last week we did the what's your favorite bass body type, and I think that was great. It got great reviews. I enjoyed doing it. Chris enjoyed doing it. So this week, I don't know if our topic's quite as good this week, but this could get interesting. We'll see.
I just got a simple question, and
Right.
you can ask me too.
I want you to answer this first.
Oh, you want me to answer first?
I want you to go first because I've kind of hogged the
Okay.
microphone tonight. So I want you to go first on this. What is the best and worst fishing advice you've ever gotten?
Okay. The best fishing advice I ever got. It's kind of a vague answer, but it was to go spend time and learn Lake Fork, because that lake, things happen on that lake that happen nowhere else.
It's the ultimate training ground.
Yeah, and you
very
if you-
diverse.
if you can catch them on Fork,
Mhm.
you can go anywhere and catch them. I'm
No-
a firm believer in that.
Those fish get more pressure per acre than any other, so they're more challenging to catch. It's a very diverse fishery.
Correct.
It offers deep water, shallow water, timber cover, brush piles, docks, a little bit of rock, grass of all kinds, emergent, submergent.
Mhm.
A little bit of everything happens on Lake Fork, and the fish are really difficult to catch most of the time
Right.
because of the pressure they receive. So yeah, it's like the ultimate training ground.
It was at the very beginning when I started fishing with you out there.
Mhm.
You and I and Andrew Grills were sitting out there one day. I think we come in for lunch or something, and I'd made a comment about wanting to tournament fish,
Mhm.
and I believe it was Andrew that said, "You want to get good at tournament fishing? You fish this lake as much as you can, and you'll
Yep.
be able to go anywhere and pretty much be all right."
Oh yeah. We've had and well, me and you have had conversations at length about this over the years about how Lake Fork is the ultimate training ground, and
Mhm.
yeah, I mean it speaks to volumes. You look at guys that are from here originally that have had success, and guys that have literally, like Dean Rojas, came and lived here
Right.
when he first broke out on the Elite Series. Dean Rojas was living in Grand Saline, Texas,
Mhm.
and fishing at Lake Fork. Kelly Jordan,
Takahiro.
obviously Takahiro, moved to here from Japan.
Sprague.
Jeff Sprague, yeah, he's born and raised in Lee Lives. He's now the latest one. And the list goes on of the Lake Fork influence amongst professional tournament bass fishers.
That's right.
Probably has kicked out, has birthed more tournament successful fishermen on that level. It probably has more guys than any other lake, I would say.
I agree.
If you were to pick one single lake, now I know Gunnersville has more of them that live at it,
Yeah.
but they live there after they make it, like after they've become that. They didn't train there and then go on tour.
Right.
If you want to look at one single lake that has trained more professional tournament anglers than any other, I would say it's probably Lake Fork.
Yeah, and if it's not,
It's close. Yeah, it's up there for sure.
So
So that's best. What's the
best.
worst advice?
buy a boat.
Buy a
Because
boat.
I don't know about all the listeners, but me personally, I can't afford one of those. And it seems like every time I turn around, I'm obviously lying. I enjoy having a boat.
Yeah.
But it seems like every time I turn around.
Well,
I
if
need
you're
to-
buying an older boat,
Right.
you're gonna always be paying money on it.
Oh, absolutely.
I tell people all the time,
I know.
you can finance one of these new ones out and get a reasonable payment. And if you go hunt a deal on one, find last year's last model that's left in the showroom with all kinds of rebates on it.
Mhm.
Find a demo model that's left over with rebate, discount, whatever. Like get a discounted version, but a boat that you finance as new.
Yeah.
You can stretch out the financing, make the payments reasonable, and then sell it in a couple of years and sell it for what you owe on it a lot of times, or real close to it.
Yeah.
And that's cheaper than buying the old boat and then putting $1,000 in it every few months. Because
Yeah.
that's what's going to happen with an older boat.
Yeah.
You're better off, and then you got the warranty, right? So anything that breaks, you just take it down to their shop and be like, hey, y'all got to fix it. And they do, and it's free.
Yeah. That really wasn't honestly the worst fishing advice I
It's-
ever got. I was just making a joke.
It's better to me to kind of what I call rent boats, right?
Mm-hmm. Renting boats.
Rent the boat. Go
It's
get
like
a
leasing
deal.
a car.
Yeah, go get a deal on a brand new one. Keep the warranty on it. Hey, the warranty transfers to the second buyer, so that's a good selling point. If you get a good enough deal on it, you can usually kind of get out from under them a couple years later.
Yeah.
And not owe too much, not owe much. And then basically you just make your boat payment every month, and you rented the boat for the time you had it. Then you go get a deal on a new one,
Yeah.
and you always have a new boat, and you never pay maintenance costs, and that's the cost of fishing if you want to fish. But and you get to have that brand new boat versus having to deal with some old beat up stuff.
Right.
You know what's more expensive, making $6,000 worth of boat payments in a year for 2 years, and then maybe losing a couple thousand on the deal.
Yeah.
So you're looking at $15,000 that you spend on the boat over two years or whatever, right? Or going and buying an older boat for $10,000 and then spending a couple thousand every 6 months to fix something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you're going to be apples to apples money wise at best. At best, the older boat's going to cost you the same, and you get to have a brand new boat.
Yeah. Fortunately, I haven't had too many issues with this one. I just thought it was funny.
But why didn't you fish today?
Because
Because your boat's broken.
No, because we're doing a podcast.
Yeah. He
That's
told
why.
me earlier his boat's broken.
That's why.
That's the deal, man. You buy those older boats. Listen, you put electronic and mechanical equipment in water, it's going to break.
Oh, yeah.
This is supposed to be funny. You're making it depressing.
No, I'm not.
I'm depressed. Are y'all depressed? Let me know in the comments right now.
All right, Billy.
Best advice, somebody said, follow your gut.
That's good. That's good.
That is good. Fork has humbled great fishermen. Yeah. And it also humbles me a lot.
It's humbled me more than it's giving me a pat on the back.
It may have humbled some great ones, but it humbles me all the time.
Yeah. That joker right there.
It can make you, man, I had 2 days last week where it was like, one day we went out and we caught, it wasn't like a great day, but like we caught fish throughout the day,
Mm-hmm.
had a decent day. Yeah, I mean, and I'm talking about identical conditions, bro, like exact same temperature, exact same wind direction and speed, exact same cloud cover. Like everything is exactly the same. Go back and run those same areas, nothing. Try to expand that pattern to other new areas, nothing. Just, I mean, a couple little dinks was all we caught that second day. And it just, nothing changed.
Hey,
That's not like, listen, on any other lake, that doesn't happen, guys. That's only Lake Fork where you can have identical conditions on back-to-back days and have a good day one day and crap the next.
Hey, I'll do you one better. I zeroed in late April one time on Fork. It happens.
That's
Trust
pretty
me, it
bad.
happens.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
That is pretty bad.
But it was a similar deal. Same conditions. There were still fish on beds.
Here's the best advice. Don't fish history. That's really good advice. So what was your real worst fishing advice?
Worst fishing advice was actually a rod and reel setup. I was throwing. It was when I first got introduced to frog fishing when I was
Yeah.
younger.
Yeah.
Don't use monofilament on a frog.
Somebody told you to use mono on a frog?
You just upsize your mono.
That's pretty bad fishing advice.
Cool story, bro.
That's pretty bad fishing advice.
After not getting a hook in about 10 of them,
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, I gotta do something
that's
different.
pretty bad advice.
I was a little man. What do you do?
What do you do? I don't know. I keep seeing people put their best fishing advice in here, but I would love for people to put their worst fishing advice.
Don't fish history's a good one.
Don't fish history is a very good one. And I'm going to tell you, the further along I get into my guiding career, that is a harder one to follow. It's very difficult to follow that when you've been fishing the same lake year after year,
Oh.
hundreds of days a year.
Guys, I live on Lake Palestine, and every single year, January through March,
Yeah.
I'm not getting south.
I know where to find you.
Yeah.
I know where to find you.
Yeah, you know exactly where I'm gonna be.
I
And I
do.
can't help it.
And this year you still went on that jerkbait in January because they were
Yeah.
biting it on the south end.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, I think a lot of fishermen have that problem.
Man, I've gotten so much good advice fishing over the years. To me, it's hard to narrow down what is the best fishing advice. The don't fish history and trust your gut. Those two are like, to me, the trust your gut deal is a big deal because, like, here's the deal. And this is, I'm going to talk in circles a little bit here. This is kind of my own, like, insanity showing up live for you guys. But, Like if you're out fishing and you feel like you should be, like everything tells you, okay, hey, this is what I should be doing. I should be throwing a lipless crankbait on this grass flat in the back of this creek. But you get there and you just don't feel like they're going to bite that lipless crankbait or they're going to bite in that area. Whether they will or they won't, if you feel like they won't, the odds are you're not catching them. You're not going to catch them very well for sure. So if you feel like this isn't going to work, go do something else. Because no matter how hard you try to stick with something, if you don't think it's going to happen, it's not happening. So that, to me, that's the trust your gut part. Like, I will pull the trolling motor up and run all over the pond, and at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, I can go, well, hell, at least I tried. But if I get into an area or a pattern and do something going, man, I just don't feel like it. Just doesn't feel like this is going to happen. We all have that thought at times. Man, it just doesn't feel like it's happening here. Don't hesitate. Go right now. Don't waste any more time. That would be. I mean, that's the trust your gut deal. That is what trust your gut means to me, and I think that's a really important one. And I have gotten a lot of great fishing advice over the years. I mean,
I got another one that I
little things like rod positioning on certain techniques and fundamentals and different stuff. Lots of great fishing advice. Probably the worst fishing advice I ever got was keep toilet paper in your boat.
That's the worst advice you've ever
That's
given?
terrible advice.
Because it's like foreshadowing? Is that what you're telling me?
No.
Oh.
No, toilet paper is a terrible idea in a boat. You keep baby wipes in your boat. Don't
Come
use
on.
toilet paper. It's either going to dry rot, fall apart, you can't use it, or it's going to get wet and you can't use it. Like toilet paper is the biggest, stupidest idea ever to put in a boat. You put baby wipes in a plastic bag container in your boat.
Modern problems require modern solutions.
Plus, I don't know if y'all have ever wiped your boat with a baby wipe, but it feels pretty amazing when you're done. Just saying.
I'll tell you another good advice is have confidence in what you throw and throw what you're confident in.
Yeah, see,
Does that go along with trust
you
your
keep
gut?
trying to go back to this like serious fishing stuff. I'm trying to have some fun here, and you just want to talk about like you're trying to get.
Oh, okay. Here's
You're
one.
trying to become a better fisherman right now.
All right. Here's some worse fishing advice by Zell Rowland. Just run next to the big trees.
Just run next to the big tree.
Yeah, 'cause it don't matter.
Yes, that's so good.
Like,
that is so good.
hey, how do you navigate all these wooded lakes like Lake Fork?
A mutual friend of ours was with Zell Rowland at an event and asked him how those guys how he figured out how and where to run on these timbered East Texas lakes, like Toledo, Fork, Rayburn, whatever.
Right.
All these East Texas lakes, Palestine,
Whoop.
Pines, all of them,
No
timber
sir.
all over them, right? They asked him, how do you figure out and learn how to navigate them? And he looked him dead in the eye and said, well, you just run real close to the biggest trees. He's like, huh? What do you mean? He said, yeah, when that tree was a big tree, it had a bunch of branches on it, which means no other trees grew right beside it. So I just stay close to the biggest stumps, and I don't ever hit nothing. That's a true story, folks. That was truly what Zell Rowland told me.
That don't work for somebody like me because I cracked the transom in my Cobra without even hitting a dang tree.
I mean, what if it's that one crazy tree that grew up through the branches?
Right.
You know? Like,
Right. Yeah, like pine trees don't grow close together. I don't know what that is. Yeah, right, okay. Worst fishing advice. Don't run next to the big trees.
Yeah, just run next to the big trees. You'll be fine.
Golly.
That's great stuff. I can't believe you remembered that. That is so awesome.
Yeah.
Here's some bad fishing advice. Don't fish on windy days. That's bad fishing advice.
Terrible.
Windy days are great to fish on. That's true. I mean, you got to stay safe. There's a limit, right? But
Right. Yeah, like Rayburn earlier this year. Like when this last hurricane was rolling through. Probably not the best.
yeah. Did you see where I made a post?
Oh my God.
I said, when that hurricane came through down there around the Texas-Louisiana border, like the night, it was coming through there at like midnight, and I made a post on Facebook that said, if you're not fishing Rayburn overnight around midnight tonight, you ain't no cowboy.
That's right. That's right. You ain't mad enough, Adam.
You would have needed a bull rope and some damn good spurs to hold on to your boat that night, I guarantee you.
So you know how Rayburn gets. So I had a similar situation on Pat. No, I say similar. It wasn't as big, but yeah, that 5 and 6 footers. No thanks.
Right.
No thanks.
Right.
Hell,
Well-
you and I were freaking. You remember? This has been probably 4 or 5 years ago. We were jumping waves
Oh,
at Lake
yeah.
Fork in the fall.
Oh, when it blows good and you can run with them, it's fun to get a little air sometimes.
We're talking about prop out of the water, Jack.
Oh, yeah, prop way out of the water.
Yeah.
Like, there was one I remember one time where it felt like, and I know this wasn't real, but it felt like we were 10 to 15 foot off the surface of the water.
Well, that may be because we were coming down on one that was getting low.
It felt like that. We were way up there. It was by far the
And
highest.
I'm over here white knuckling every handle. I think I'm holding the pliers at this
Yeah.
point. Like I'm looking for something to grab onto, and this joker looks over at me and goes, "Oh, we got up there, didn't we?"
Like,
And just keeps on going.
Chris is like praying and holding on to everything he can find, and I'm literally fist pumping and yelling in joy. Just having a ball. I'm hammered down, just letting it rip.
This is like Richard Petty in a skeeter.
It was good times.
Yeah.
It was good times.
I bet he don't drive this one like that though.
Huh? Oh, yeah, dude. Them skeeters are built for that, man. That's what they're built for.
That hurts.
They're made for. No, not the skeeter. Don't hurt. It lands
Yeah.
soft. Did it hurt that day?
Man, everything hurts. Everybody hurts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Don't need you on my soccer team. You be one of the ones I'll be calling soft. Tough.
No, come on.
Soft. With a capital T. Soft. Gary Payne says he kind of does. He's been on a guy trip with me. He said, yeah, he does drive that boat like that. He does drive that boat like
Hey,
that.
there's a couple times, I remember the run in the back of Pinson one day. I'd never made the run. Billy was telling me about it. We get in the very back and he goes, "What you think?" And I was like, "Well, I'm going to need one of them baby wipes, dog."
That's why you keep baby wipes, not toilet paper. You don't want the toilet paper to be bad when you have an accident running through the trees going into Pinson. You need to make sure you got baby wipes, get that thing cleaned up, get a little maintenance wipe going. We'll go ahead and end on that note. It's been a great night. Thank y'all for joining us. Thank you for all the live interaction and comments. Y'all have been amazing as always. Always appreciate you guys joining us. Hey, Chris, do that thing you do.
This is the Fish Life Podcast, and we approve this message.